All right, just a quick message, guys. This is part of a longer series, about almost 2 hours long. You can go down, link below, check it out, and the context might make more sense. But otherwise, I just want to give you guys the ultimate sauce in selling your agency. Telegram group link down below, completely free, by the way. The valuation formulas, everything you need to know about that is in the Telegram group, all the docs, etc. Otherwise, enjoy this video on how to actually get 7 figures for your agency, because it's not that difficult. Just about finding the right buyer, making sure you avoid the same traps that everyone does, because honestly, broker life isn't for everyone, and you want to self-broker? Hey, I'm giving you the instructions. The exit strategy and the big payday. The big, juicy payday. Listen, guys, I just, straight up, I want to walk into this saying that this is the most important part, all right? Life, take it from someone who doesn't yet have 100 mil, but will soon, and will have a $100 million exit from something related to this and everything else he does. Link in the Telegram to truly understand me, okay? But the fact of the matter is, guys, life is a series of events, and a sale, an exit, and anything in like the low to mid 6 figures range above, that's an event, okay? And I don't care who you are, I don't care who you're comparing to, because the only person you should compare to yourself is to yourself, right? It's to your past self. That's the only person you should compare yourself to. It's like in a video game where it's like you do a time trial, right, in a race car, and then you race against the ghost of your car and you try to beat your previous time. That's the way I look at life, and maybe that sounds stupid, but I'm probably in a better place than you, so you should probably listen. So, Section 3, sell, the exit strategy and the big payday, all right? You've built the foundation, guys. You've scaled the traffic, all right? You put an elevator in so people in wheelchairs don't have to go up the stairs. Your operations, they're in-house. You know, absolutely everything. You've offshored the taxes. You don't have to do that, but, you know, you're just good to go. But the most important thing is, guys, and you should pat yourself on the back for this, you documented the process, all right? You know what you're doing, and now it's time to cash out. And that competence that got you to the place you are right now, that's going to help you get the biggest dollar possible. And please remember, I'm speaking as a broker who's sold probably around $10 million, well, 6 to 10 million in commissions on sales around OnlyFans related businesses, spicy businesses, etc. Okay. So, Section 3, sell, the big cash out. And this is where most of you are completely blind. So, we got a lot to go over. Actually, we don't have too much. So let's go over the core agenda for Section 3. Agency valuation formula, right? The math behind the millions. Then the buyer personas, who's actually going to give you $3 million for an agency making $100,000 a month. The irrelevant founder, why buyers buy, which is again profile of a 62-year-old white man who sold an HVAC company for $5 million or $15 million, never got any action because he married Ethel or Gertrude, the first person he ever touched. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he's a pissed off boomer, a bitter boomer. Due diligence in the books, now where deals go to die. And that's the truth, guys. But remember, if you followed Uncle Spencer's advice and you're revisiting this video 18 months from now and you're about to contact me for assistance in selling your business, well, congratulations. You know, that's where you're at. And by the way, I'm proud of you. You kept your books. You did everything, not by the book, but you did everything properly. And that's all that matters. As long as you have books in the first place, the gaps can be filled in. That is not legal advice. All right. And that's not very professional brokerage advice either. But it's the fact of the matter, it's the truth, and any broker will tell you that. So, deal structures, cash up front versus an earnout. Which do you want? Because I recommend a 70-30 split. That's typically what gets deals done, especially in the multi-million-dollar range, all right? Because there has to be some trust, and there has to be some seller support, and there has to be, the buyer has to be comfortable forking over a couple $1 million with the foundational knowledge that you are not going to run away. Finally, the fourth S, brokering the deal. Remember that fourth S? Start, scale, sell. Super secret Spencer, right? S, the fourth S. All right, so agency valuation formula, okay? This is so easy. I may or may not even edit this video and put it on screen, but honestly, if you can't figure out this formula, hey, I'm sorry the public school system failed you, but it ain't my fault. You should ask someone. Now, agency valuation formula. So let's say your agency does $100,000 a month in net profit over 12 months, okay? So your total annual net profit is $1.2 million. All right, annual means a year, means 12 months. Now the multiple for a service-based spicy business, typically 2 to 4 times the annual net profit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take my wife, right? We're going to take the calculator. The calculator of truth and justice, the wolf mug of truth and justice. That is an old e-com joke for you OGs out there. Shout out Alex Becker. I have never learned anything from Alex Becker. I just remember his annoying ass commercials. Now, let's go into here. So 1.2 million, right? What's 1.2 million times 2? 2.4 million. Okay, my apologies. I don't know why it's doing that. So 2.4 million, right? 3 times 3.6 million, 4 times 4.8 million. Are you going to get 4 times? Likely not. You're probably not, right? And now, when I say why do you only value these agencies, Spencer? Assuming on a multiple of cash flow. Why don't you add in any assets? Because 99% of the time, you guys have no assets in there to begin with, right? The model is the asset. The model is the cash flow generator. Everything is easier to wrap up under the banner of cash flow, all right? That's just the fact of the matter. You know what I mean? And so many of you don't know what I mean, but that's okay. Because guess what? I'm just giving you the formula that works and that I know works. What the bloody hell is up with this thing? Pardon me. There we go. Anyway, so low exit end, low end exit, 2 times multiple, 2.4. Now it's really an 18-month multiple, right? A low range exit, it's more of a mid-range exit, a 24-month exit, but a low range exit's 18. So $1.8 million exit on a business making $100,000 a month net profit. Now, that's a great exit because you don't know where the market's going to be. Like, remember when Leonid Radvinsky, the founder of OnlyFans, or the guy who scaled OnlyFans, passed away? He visited Section 2, scale. You know, when he passed away, there was some uncertainty. There was some scary feelings around with the future of the platform. But of course, he understood delegation, standard SOPs, and as a result, it didn't matter that he passed away, just like it shouldn't matter if you get hit by a bus. All right, you get a car, you get hit by a bus, you get hit by a bus. It shouldn't matter. All right, so you're aiming for the lowest end exit possible, which, well, not possible, but that you should want, which is 18 months. That's pathetic. You shouldn't be happy with that, but maybe you will be. And remember, if you're seeking to acquire through M&A, you want to get the lowest multiple valuation as well, which is why I recommend slamming the Brickle Bros at 8 times monthly. Because most of the time, they won't even have 6 months of trailing, so it doesn't matter your valuations. It's pathetic. And look, I understand if I'm losing you here because this is pretty high level concepts here for a lot of you because you can't even fathom getting to the sale. Again, join the group just so you can see everything. Link is down below. But a mid-range exit, I'd say is about the 3 million, 3.2 million. A high-end exit, anything touching 4. You know, I've got higher numbers here, but that's just mathematically incorrect. Like, 4 is a really high exit. I don't think you're really going to get it. Depends on the models. Like, I've seen 4 at auctions. I've done auctions before. I've seen that. I've pitted buyers against each other. I've got those results before. So it's a case-by-case basis in a lot of ways. If you want me to take a look, you can ask me to take a look and maybe I will. But I try to avoid brokering, except only for the finest now, because it's just too annoying, guys. It's just not worth my time. You know, why in the bloody hell? Can you just bloody center? Anyway, so the buyer persona, who's actually buying this, right, guys? I don't care about this last part. I'm sorry for the focus issues. I'm just going to do it. All right, whatever. I don't give a shit. Okay, so the buyer personas, who's actually buying this? When we go to sell your agency, right? Who's on the other end of that wire transfer, that crypto transfer, whatever? Okay, and guys, just procedurally, so you understand how this works, oftentimes there's a buyer, there's an escrow in between, whether that's escrow.com or whether that's like an attorney or something that specializes in crypto transactions, whatever. And typically escrow will take 1% or a flat fee of $1,000 or whatever. Ideally, you don't want to pay 1% because on a $2 million deal, that's 20 grand just for the privilege of holding the money for 10 minutes. But they're also holding $2 million, so they have to be a trusted party. You know what I mean? I personally do not act as escrow. I would never act as escrow. And in America, for example, you need to have a certain license to act as that. So the buyer persona, who's actually buying this? So when we go to sell your agency, who's actually on the other end of the wire, right? So the competitor, right? The roll up. And this is the super small multiples, okay? Let me just back this bloody thing up. I don't like how I can't see half my hair. Anyway, that's the super small multiples, right? That's an agency owner who's executing the exact same M&A strategy we talked about in the scale section. They want your roster. They want your chatting team. They want 1-star member of your crew, all right? Now, that's the problem. They know the game. They know the game. I don't know why this isn't focusing, whatever. And they're not going to overpay, okay? They're going to be really hard to convince, really hard to get on a higher multiple because they just understand it, right? Do you think I would pay 24 months on an I bought many agencies before. I wouldn't pay 24 months on an agency if you put one gun to my balls, another gun to my head, and a grenade up my AWS. I wouldn't do that. No, that's not how it works. I would sooner implode. Go right ahead. Shove a pineapple up my nostril for all I care. Now, it's just not going to work. So the number 2 buyer, the boomer buyer, the proximity play. Now remember, a boomer to me is anyone who's like 45 and up at this point, because look, I'm 31, right? But there's a lot of people out there who had a successful exit, and what's the one thing they all have in common? These guys were not popular in high school, and they're buying proximity to beautiful women. It's like when you see old bald white dudes, nerdy guys in the club in Miami, you see them at 11, you see them wherever, and they're just surrounded by what are effectively ladies of the night, soiled doves, trompetas. It's not good. They're buying it for proximity to women. They're going to fly down to Costa Rica or wherever you have your agency, and they're going to blow the whole thing up after they acquire it. I've seen it 500 times. I'll see it 500 times more. They're my favorite buyers because they keep coming back. Spence, I don't know what I did wrong. I just wanted to meet the models. Yeah, fucking creep. Think I want to meet my models? I stay 10,000 miles out. I've got models I've never met, I've had for years. I don't want to bloody know them. I don't want to bloody know them at all. Not for 10 minutes. Think I want to spend 5 seconds in a room with a model? Absolutely not. No. I can barely handle the people I employ. Now, next. So I turned the Jabba the Hutt there, but that's genetic. Anyway, where were we going with this? So yeah. Wasn't popular in high school, wasn't popular in college, or they married the first girl who ever held their hand. Hey, they got Hugh Hefner fantasies, and that's perfectly fine, guys, all right? As long as they pay a premium, and that's all that it is. And by the way, this is easy to justify to them because the fact of the matter is they're going to put 70% down, 30% over time, maybe 12 months financing. So say it's a $3 million deal, right? 70% down, what is that, like $2.4 million, 600,000 over like, I don't know, a year, let's say. So that's a further 50,000. What is that? 600,000 divided by 12. Whatever that is. You know what I mean? So then actually, let me give you a better deal. 600,000 divided by 12. That's 50,000 a month. Okay, that's not bad, but that's not really realistic because that's serviceable by the cash flow of the agency, and I don't like that type of deal. So in that case, the buyer would probably actually be putting down probably even $1.5 million. And like I have case studies, guys, in the group down below. It's just remember I put some simple examples here that I'm just reading off my sheet here. Just I have some bullet points, but the reality is, just go into the group and you're going to see under, where is it in the group? What do I even have this under? I think I have it called exits or something. Hold on, let me check. OF Agency Vault. Yes, exits, sales, and valuations. That's what it's called, okay? In the OF Agency Vault section. So, and how many templates do I have in here? 2, 3, 4. I have four examples in there. So yeah, check that out, guys, because honestly, that's a big thing. So then buyer number 3, the capital flight buyer, the crypto offshore play. Now the capital flight buyer, those are some of my favorite buyers, okay? Because they're people who want a location independent, cash generating business, heavy cash flowing business with minimal input of money in itself. So that's the thing about OF, right? This is where it gets really exciting. This is where Uncle Spencer loves it, okay? Because this is, remember guys, I'm an offshore guy at heart. I'm a money guy at heart. I love money. I love money. Anyway, just rub my nipples like the cable company from South Park. I love money. Anyway, so back to the reality though, guys. Capital Fly Buyer, they want a vehicle to generate and park cash offshore. They might have domestic cash. So let's say you're a seller with models that are paid out in crypto, location agnostic, doesn't really matter. But you got $3 million in the US, right? You got to transfer that $3 million. You want to buy this business? Okay, great. We can make that happen, right? I don't know why it's not focusing. We make that happen, and then all of a sudden you're generating $100,000 plus a month offshore, completely out from under Uncle Sam's nose. Now, is that illegal? Yes, that is. You have to report if you're an American. I'm not an American. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I'm not giving you advice. I'm simply recounting scenarios which I have heard of and perhaps seen, but it doesn't matter. Now, high yield, location independent cash flow. That's all these guys are buying. They don't care the origin of it. All they care is that it's perpetual, that it's going to keep going. Okay? Now, what dictates the multiple? So again, let's do what dictates the multiple, the irrelevant founder rule, and then the due diligence and the books. Let me combine these two right now because that's a very important thing. I should have just combined them. So anyway, the dictate of the multiple is it's just a standard business. Go on bizbuysell.com right now. Go on businessesforsale.com right now. Look up the multiples, right? 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, sometimes 48 months. It doesn't matter. Asset costs or the asset value is a separate thing. It's a separate column. All right. It's based largely on cash flow, largely on longevity, goodwill, which is like the reputation the business has, the longevity of the client life, etc. Like my father was in construction. Certain companies would only call him and they would just accept whatever price he gave because they know my father would do a good job. That's goodwill, right? So all of these things are relatively irrelevant, and everything is priced based on cash flow. Cash flow. You know, Ace Hood. I need that bankroll. I fucking love that song. I love Ace Hood. I'm a white boy from the suburbs. I don't know anything about the hood, but Ace Hood. Anyway, so that's what dictates the multiple, right? It's purely cash flow. It's the simplest thing. Now, due diligence in the books. Now, this is why I stressed to you in the beginning, in the start section, why the books are so important, guys. Why the books are so important. If you don't have the books, what do you got? Right? How are you going to prove anything? Yeah, you can go and screen record the OnlyFans, do whatever you want. That's fucking stupid. You should have it dialed in from the beginning, because guess what? It's a confidence builder. That's why I say due diligence in the books, where the deal goes to die. $3.6 million, their accountants are going to rip apart your fucking numbers, guys. If your accounting's a disaster, you're paying models by Cash App, you're mixing agency funds, personal checkouts, whatever. You don't know how much you paid the chatters this month because you paid in crypto. You paid that model in PayPal. You Cash App this model. You went, I'll take my wiener, I'll put it right there. You went and did this. Like, I got 5 different ways from Sunday. Like, I'm making the Star of David with my fingers. You think I was a damn blood? I'm pointing in so many different directions because who the fuck did you pay and how did you pay them and where did you pay them? And you don't even fucking know. And you come to me, you say, Uncle Spencer, I want to sell. I say, hey, little Timmy, congratulations on $80,000 a month net or $250,000 a month net. Now, where did the money go? Do you know how much you paid your chatters this month? Hey, there was a performance bonus over here. Where? And then it makes it impossible for me to sell. It makes it impossible for any broker to sell. And I don't even take you on as a client. And that's why I say the books are where deals go to die. Okay? Because anybody who has multiple millions of dollars to pay you for your agency, guess what, guys? Their books were clean. Their books were good. 99%. If you saw my books are immaculate. You'd think I was a Jewish and Chinese combined. That's how good my books are. Seriously, you'd think I was selling opium. You'd call me Jardine Matheson. That's how good my damn books are. Now, and my grandfather, he was a dry cleaner. He had 3 sets of books. One for him, one for my grandmother, and one for the government. Now, deal structures, cash versus earnouts, and then the 4th S, and then we are wrapping this up, probably about 5-10 minutes. Deal structures, cash versus earnouts. Now, when you sell, you don't usually just get 3.6 million down and walk away, okay? So typically, upfront cash is going to be 50 to 70%. That's the average I see. Let's call it 60%. Now, the earnout and the holdback, that's the remaining 30 to 40% of the business that's tied out over the last 6 to 12 months. And that makes sure that you as the seller, because every buyer, unless they're an experienced operator, is typically going to need what's called seller support. Seller support is you staying with the buyer, doing like maybe 2 or 3 daily calls, not daily, but like weekly, I should say. In the beginning, during the handover, there's going to be a lot of daily calls. Like I myself right now, I'm in Telegram groups with several people, several clients whose agencies I've sold, and the buyers, and they just like me in there because it feels better. There's a neutral party, whatever. And I do that for a fee. Obviously, it's a service. But at the end of the day, the buyer needs to be confident that the models aren't going to walk away, that you're not going to walk away. And by not giving them the whole thing up front, that helps big time. And for example, my commission, 20% of the sale, right? So if that's a $3 million deal, that's $600,000. But if you do 1.5 million down, 1.5 million finance, I only get my 300,000 out of the initial 1.5 million, and I am paid structured out for the rest of the year. So that way everybody knows I got equal skin in the game as the broker. It's just fair. It's just the incentive. It's the way it has to be. I'm the fastest talker on YouTube with the most value, and my videos are still 20, 30 minutes long, or my sections. Anyway, this is going to be an hour plus long video. Insane the value I drop. Retarded insane. Join the Telegram group down below. But anyway, the earnout holdback, that's just the thing, guys. Who demands my attention? Nobody important. Anyway, that was actually literally one of the buyers saying thank you for the information. I don't know why it got through my notifications, but look, that's just all standard, okay? You can watch any business, sale guru, any broker discuss anything, and that's just what it's going to be, okay? So remember, your job post-sale, this is seller support, right? 3 to 6 months in an advisory role, and you're not going to get any extra compensation for that. It's just the privilege of actually receiving the other 30 to 40 to 50% of your fucking money in the first place, okay? Now, point number 6, the 4th S, Spencer and brokering the deal, all right? So when you build an agency to this point, you don't list it on a public website. And you can, of course, like I have my private broker channels. That's what I do. It's a big deal. But the fact of the matter is, guys, you got to watch out because there's a lot of pirates who just want to see your models. They just want to see your strategy. And these are usually other OF industry people. That's why I typically don't like to sell to OF industry people. I typically don't even entertain them because the fact of the matter is, guys, it doesn't fucking matter because they're all pirates. They really are. They just want to see the models. They just want to see that. If a guy with $3.5 million who just is in it for all the wrong reasons, for all the wrong physical, corporal reasons, it doesn't matter if he sees something or if he knows something. What's he going to do? You know what I mean? But you got to keep it quiet. You can't tell anyone you're selling. Don't tell your chatters. Don't tell your agency owners. Don't tell nothing. And what you do is when you sell, you introduce these people as your partner, right? And that helps ease the transition. But again, that's there's this whole advanced playbook I've got down in the group that you can access. So the fourth S, all right? Truly. What is this? Oh, yes. Basically, if you think you're ready to sell, you can get in touch with me and maybe I'll help you. But chances are I probably won't want to take it on because if you're doing 100K a month, okay, that's great. That's probably the minimum. Because anything less than 6 figures, because when you're doing 6 figures psychologically, you can command more. You guys understand that, right? It's like, yeah, I did $99,000, so it's not as impressive as doing $100,000 because one's 6 figures and one isn't. You know? Okay, so the outro here, guys. Look, we've just done 90 minutes. I did it with 10-minute breaks, made 3-4 separate videos here, but look, join my Telegram group. It's been a real privilege to hopefully pass some knowledge on to you just as an OG in the game and someone who's been doing stuff at a 8-figure high level for so long now. And I'm back on YouTube. I'm committing to this, committing to Telegram. I have so many AI projects coming, particularly in the spicy space. I don't know what's going on with this. It's a flagship property we're going to see here. I mean, I do, and I talk about it, but you want to learn more about me, you want to learn everything, guys, I joined the Telegram group down below. And look, thank you for everything. Let's cash out with a couple $1 million together, all right? Like,